finally made it to Bangkok and I am really pleased to be here. However, it's not the start that I thought it would be. Flew from Singapore to Bangkok via Thai Airways. It's the first time I've ever traveled to Thailand, so I didn't know what to expect. Thai Airways, first time I've flown with them, and they were half an hour late. That's fine, but it just sort of added sort of a ripple effect for other things happening. My day one schedule sort of went out the window because I have a 5-day itinerary of cool things to do, and it just went out the window for day one. But hey ho, it's fine. It is early September and the weather is really touch and go. So we're just playing it by ear because there were a couple of outdoor activities we'd planned, but if it's going to be pouring down with rain, then we don't want to really do that. So maybe we'll switch up to sort of more indoor activities, but we'll see. There's been a lot of lightning tonight. Oh, you just saw it. There's been a lot of lightning tonight and some thunder, and it did rain for a few minutes. To the point where you couldn't even see the buildings outside, but now it's sort of cleared up again. I'm hoping it just sort of pours tonight so that the weather is a lot more clearer for the next few days that we're here. But I mean, we were expecting it because we heard that this is sort of the tail end of the monsoon season, so we'll see. One thing I wanted to say was when we arrived into the Thai airport, sorry, I can't remember the exact name, it begins with an S, I'll put it on the screen. When we arrived into that airport, it was a minefield because it was just so big, and it was bigger than I was expecting it to be. We needed to get our money converted, and we also needed to get eSIM cards. If you haven't been to Bangkok before, just as a heads up, there are so many vendors offering eSIM cards and currency exchange. There are two main companies. Maybe they're competitors, maybe they're under the same company, I don't know. I can't remember the name. One's kind of lime green branding and the other is red branding. So it was predominantly those two vendors that were all over the place. But just because they're the same company doesn't mean that they offer the same thing, which was just so confusing. I don't really understand how it works. So some people were saying you had to get the most expensive package in order to get the eSIM card because the other ones were like only for physical SIM cards. And then in the end, we ended up going for the one where we could get the cheapest plan on an eSIM, and it was like maybe 400 Thai baht for 5 days, unlimited data, whereas other companies, other vendors were saying it's only for 15 gigabytes, which in itself is still quite a lot of data, but still it's better to have unlimited, right? So in the end, we got the better end of the deal, and they allowed us to pay with our card, which was super duper helpful. That was an interesting experience because I was like, is this how it works in Bangkok in general, or am I being scammed? I wasn't quite sure, but it felt a little bit, are they being honest right now? Not sure. The best currency exchange, as far as I'm aware, is the one that is sort of like, it's got green branding and it's downstairs on the basement level, and it's on the corner as you go down the ramp to get to the airport railway link. That's the best currency conversion. Even though there was a same company upstairs, there was a better rate downstairs on basement one. Don't ask me how that works. My advice would just be to look around and compare the prices and the deals yourself. You can walk away. There's no issue with that. So just do your own research if you've got the time and the energy. Otherwise, if you don't care, then, you know, in the scheme of things, it's not too expensive compared to obviously other countries. So there was that shenanigan, and then we got the airport railway link from the main station from the airport, beginning with an S. Again, I put it on the screen, and it went directly to Phed, which is the area and the hotel we're staying in and at. It's the Eastern Grand Hotel in Phed, and I would highly recommend it. So far we've only seen like half the facilities. So far we're super impressed. It's a gorgeous hotel, very modern, very clean, looks very luxurious, but not to the point where it feels snobby. It's very comfortable. Staff are so friendly here, so I'd highly recommend it. We booked it on booking.com. We were supposed to have arrived by 1:30, should have been at the hotel by 2:30, but in the end I think we got to our hotel just before 5, so we were starving, and in the end just decided to have dinner here at a lovely restaurant called Trattoria. Just chilling out now with some hot Korean tea, which is very good for digestion, and obviously what helps tiredness go away, random sour sweets, which is my guilty pleasure. So I've got a lot more planned for the next 4 days. I hope that the weather will hold out so that we can get some touristy things done, but I'm looking forward to exploring Bangkok. I'm particularly looking forward to the food, and I will take you on my journey with me. Okay, good night, guys. Today we started off by going to a restaurant called Krua Apson. Apologies if my pronunciation is terrible and I'm butchering the Thai language. So Krua Apson is a restaurant on Dinso Road known for crab curry. It was recommended by a couple of people online, and it's on the Michelin guide. So not Michelin star, but Michelin guide. I think they've had years and years and years of being on this Michelin guide. The food was good. We deliberately stuck to signatures because we thought the best food has to be the signatures, is what they recommend. So we got crab curry, green Thai curry, and we had the omelette, crab omelette, and then we just had some rice. So I would say the omelette was really good. The omelette's obviously really simple, right? But if you like omelettes, the crab omelette was really good. The green Thai curry was good, but nothing to write home about. The portions were really small, and we felt like it's a place for tourists. And even interestingly, our concierge guy, he said, oh, that place is a place that tourists go and like locals don't go. So that's interesting. It's not the first time we've had feedback about sort of Michelin guide restaurants in Asia being targeted at tourists rather than the locals, which again could be quite common sense and obvious to some people, but it's a shame because you would think that Michelin guide would actually take into consideration what the local people recommend and where they eat and where they say it's like the best local food. We ended up having 3 dishes, rice, beer, and a Pepsi, and it was about 1,000 Thai baht, which obviously is pretty expensive. Plus the portions were tiny. Would I recommend it? No. I think you can absolutely go to other places that are way better for a lot less. Also, something I didn't realize, but they charge for ice in Thailand, which just blew my mind. I don't know if it's just specific to a couple of places, like a couple of, I don't know, restaurants, cafes. I don't know if they do it all across Thailand. But yeah, they charge for ice, which I find so bizarre. But maybe there's a logical reason for it. But for me, I feel like if you're going to charge me for ice, that ice better be made out of Evian water, you know? That's how I feel. So after Krua Apson, we decided to take a grab to Talat Noi to see the murals. To be honest, it wasn't easy to find. So we just did a little bit of walking around, went to the 32 chocolate bar or 32 bar X chocolate thing, which again, it's very hyped by tourists. The outside aesthetic is really nice. I would say that it was a bit overrated. Go there for the pics, go there for the experience. The inside is tiny. Maybe try 1 or 2 of the chocolate bars and then just leave. Like, you don't need to stay for the drinks or anything like that. We then walked to a cafe called The Living Room, which was pretty cool. I went there because I just really liked being completely honest, the aesthetics of the cafe. It was just a very chill vibe, very quiet cafe where people just go to relax, predominantly women. They have things like specialty Thai coffee, for example. After that, we quickly got a grab back to the hotel. Quickly changed. I've never got so ready so fast in my life because we had a reservation at Sirocco, which is a very famous rooftop restaurant at the Lubua State Tower, I believe. Actually, I didn't know it had so many restaurants and bars. I only found out today, including 2 Michelin star restaurants, one of which is like a Japanese French restaurant and one of which is just a French restaurant. But they also have like the Pink Room, which is a champagne bar. They have another place which is a bit more clubby, which is outdoors. They have a whiskey bar, which has both an indoor and outdoor. And then they have Sirocco. Sirocco is like probably the most famous restaurant. Most notably, it's famous for the film Hangover. So if you are a fan of that film, you will know it, you will have heard of it, maybe you've seen it. The view is so beautiful. To be fair, there are quite a lot of rooftop places in Bangkok, whether it's restaurants or bars particularly, but this one is iconic because not only just the film, they have this golden dome, so you might have seen it for the dome, and the dome is very famous. So we went to Sirocco for dinner. We had booked it for our anniversary dinner. The staff were really welcoming. I felt like there were hundreds of staff, so I was constantly like, Sawadee ka, Kokun ka, constantly bowing. Staff did pre-warn us, perhaps it's best to take photos and footage first. Maybe we'll try to serve you something out here before it starts to rain, and then we'll probably have to move you indoors. So I think the staff are so used to this setup where they move you in and out, so you have to be kind of flexible and mobile just in case the weather changes. We felt it begin to like spit with rain, so we were then moved inside into the dome bit, and then it started to pour down with rain and lots of thunder and lightning, so we were like really feeling blessed that we were inside. And then it's a nice surprise, we got a live jazz band and a live jazz singer from the Ukraine. Very good singer and very great band, so was really impressed with that. So we did the chef's tasting menu, had most of our courses indoors, and then as the rain sort of cleared up, they dry everything off. So they'll dry off the table, they'll dry off the floors, and they'll move you back outside. Although there's several people serving you, including a separate sommelier and a separate main waiter and then a side waiter and everything else, our main server called Bok, he deserves a shout out because he was incredible, and he really made the experience for us and made our anniversary dinner feel even more special. So he moved us back outside for the desserts, and we had also a wine pairing menu as well. Honestly, I think we just went there for the vibes. We just went there for the views, because we thought at the very least we're going to enjoy the views, if not the food. But actually the food was really good, actually cooked by a authentic real Italian chef who was really good. Very Michelin style food and the way it's presented, etc. More than anything, it was the servers that really made our experience, from all the people that greeted us, welcomed us, said goodbye to us, thanked us, but also Bok, our main server, and also Danny, the sommelier, was also excellent. Sirocco was the only sort of thing that we had made a reservation for. Yeah, we've got a couple of other exciting days coming up and things, so I hope you will find it interesting. Good morning and welcome to day 3 of our stay in Bangkok. This morning we were planning to head to the restaurant called Phed, or I believe it might be Phed, which is a restaurant that is owned by the famous YouTuber Mark Wiens. And this restaurant is predominantly famous for krapao or pad krapao, which is the dish which has rice and either pork, beef, chicken. I believe they do a vegetarian option as well, with obviously the key ingredient, which is the basil. Pad means stir fried and krapao means holy basil, it's a dish that is my ultimate favorite Thai food. I'm obsessed with it. I could eat it every day. And obviously I've had it everywhere but Thailand. So I was very keen to try Mark Wiens. But just as a disclaimer, I will be going somewhere else as well, because Mark Wiens' restaurant has mixed reviews. I think a lot of people highly recommend it, but I think the people who recommend it are tourists versus locals who probably strongly believe that it's overpriced for what it is, it's overhyped, and therefore they would recommend a more local eatery. We still wanted to try it, but also we want to compare it with more of a local krapao as well. We've got 3 different krapaos. This is the chicken one, 160 baht. This is the pork one, 160 baht. And this is the Wagyu beef one, which is 280 baht. And we got it less spicy. And also we ordered and asked for some fish sauce, which is very exciting. It looks very nice. Accompanied by some Coke and also Singer beer, as well as some much needed ice cubes, which were pleasantly free this time. let me give you my score first before I break down why. I would give it a 5 out of 10. I've had krapao in London, I've had krapao in Singapore plenty of times, and the meat is never dry. But here, the meat was so overcooked. The chicken was super duper rubbery. The Wagyu was far too overcooked. And to have Wagyu be chewy, it gives you an indicator of how overcooked it was, because Wagyu is supposed to be a really tender beef, but it wasn't. And then also the pork, which looked like a pork mince, was also dry. That was the main disappointing aspect of the dish. We tried it before adding the fish sauce, so you can select to have the fish sauce. It's totally up to you. We decided to have the fish sauce, and thank God we did, because without the fish sauce, it was quite bland. But added with the fish sauce, it added a bit more pizzazz, saltiness, umami flavor, etc. And the fish sauce was delicious. Then we got the less spicy version, and only because we heard that even the less spicy can be super spicy, and it wasn't spicy at all, except for the sauce, which has chilies in them, and the chili seeds, and that added spice to the dish. So overall, it was a good spice. Overall, not only wouldn't go back myself, I wouldn't recommend it to other people. And I know there's gonna be some of you watching this out saying, well, you should have gone to the restaurant, but that's got nothing to do with the fact that the meat was overcooked and the rice being slightly al dente, which are both things that is not impacted by a 30-minute car ride. To be fair, the Thai restaurants we've gone to are sort of more touristy places. The Western places we've been to have been really great food, but obviously elevated prices. So I think for the next few days that we're in Bangkok, we're just going to focus on more local Thai restaurants. And also loads of locals have actually hyped up the food courts in the shopping malls. So whether that's Icon, Siam, Paragon, etc. So we're really excited to try the food there as well. We went to the famous market, which is Chatuchak Market. Now, one thing I just want to say is it's a very, very, very famous touristy market, and they have all sorts of things that you can find and think of to buy there. They also have a mall as well, which is predominantly for food, but also they have vendors within that mall. So the Chatuchak Market is kind of outdoors, but it's covered. The thing that I didn't know, I didn't realize that next door there's another market which is called Chatuchak Plaza. So it sounds really similar, and I was like, is that the same market but just pronounced in a more authentically Thai way with a J, or is this a different market? I was really confused. So I spent like a considerable amount of time in Chatuchak Plaza before realizing that Chatuchak Market was kind of next door but different. For the whole day it was just pouring with rain. So where Chatuchak Market isn't as well covered, you're inevitably going to get wet even with an umbrella. And especially if you're wearing sandals, your feet are going to get wet. So just bear that in mind. I would not wear your nice designer shoes or any shoes you don't want to get ruined. So we spent a lot of time walking around. I really loved the furniture stalls. I really loved the home decor stalls. I really loved the art stalls. I really loved, like, they had rattan. Rattan is a big thing. Different rattan places as well. And there's plenty of places to find souvenirs as well. So you really get a variety. Another thing that was surprising is, I think it was Chatuchak Plaza, there's something called the pet section. So when you go, you'll see lots of adorable animals, from kittens, cats, to puppies and dogs, and all sorts of sizes. The kittens and puppies are very adorable, but then you also have like the kind of unique dogs, like they call them exotic bullies. I think they're American bullies, but they also have Thai bullies. I would say the majority are, from what I could see as an outsider's perspective without really knowing the true full ins and outs, right? It looked like they were pretty well taken care of. A lot of animals seemed very healthy, very energetic. People who were looking after them seemed to be taking care of them. However, there were sections where the cages were far too small, especially for the dogs. And I did feel so sorry for some of the animals because it's so much heat, it's hot. And a lot of the animals were like really just like leaning on the cages because obviously they're metal. And I thought it's because perhaps, this is an assumption, that because the metal's perhaps cooler. We decided to go to dinner But then we got distracted because we walked past a cat cafe first, and so we popped in very quickly to see the cats, and they were beautiful, really clean and just well taken care of. We never buy snacks when we go into these animal cafes just because we don't believe in buying snacks. I believe that they're already quite overfed by other tourists. One thing I did like about this cafe is that they handed you for free with your ticket or entry fee, I guess, a little plate of just simple white chicken breast. But the cats seemed really healthy. And then there was like randomly like 2 rabbits and a fennec fox. So it was really random. Then we were gonna go for dinner, and then we got distracted by a dog cafe. I'm a huge animal lover, especially cats and dogs. Ever since we moved to Singapore, we haven't been able to have pets because our landlord is super strict. So we do really miss having a pet. We miss having a dog specifically. So sort of us going into these sort of animal cafes is our way of getting some experience of fur babies, really. So after that, we then headed back to the hotel. We were so tired. We ended our evening by having hotel food, and the food was amazing. Like, if you do stay at this hotel, which is the Eastern Grand Hotel Pad Thai, the service is amazing, the amenities are fantastic, the staff are so friendly, and the food, the in-room dining is excellent. So I would highly recommend it. So because we had such a good experience of the in-room dining, we decided to have in-room dining again this morning or / lunch. And then after that, we decided to go to a mall called Union Mall. We found out that from the 4th to the 10th of September, there is a designer discounts outlet thing for vintage designer goods, predominantly designer bags. So it's run by a company called the House of Lux. So we went there today. I was actually surprised at the amount of good quality items, and they sectioned it off by brand. So there was like Chanel, Louis Vuitton, MCM, Dior, Gucci. Also, it was a really interesting experience. It was free entry, but they were really strict with security details, such as you weren't allowed to take in anything other than your credit cards, your cash, and your phone. And the main reason why, that I understand, they didn't explain this, but this is what I understand from just doing research, is people may then bring in fake designer goods and swap it with the actual vintage item, which sounds crazy, but listen, there are quirky people out there, aren't there? They also didn't allow any filming or any photography during your shopping experience, even though you have your phone, but there are staff sort of scattered everywhere, so really you do it at your own risk. So if you do live somewhere in Asia, or even if you don't, and you are really into designer goods, I would keep your eye out on this event. But just as an FYI and a heads up, you heard it here as an exclusive first, the next event is happening in December in Central World, I believe. And apparently it's going to be huge, and I imagine it'll be great for Christmas gifts, and I imagine for that same reason, it's going to be very busy. Then we headed to Icon Siam finally. I've been wanting to go for the entire time. Icon Siam is a very iconic mall. We headed straight to Suk Siam, which is the food court, which is on the ground floor. It was just amazing. Like, it was just so energetic, so vibrant, a lot going on. If you thrive off energy and that sort of vibe, you will love it. If you are somebody that likes peace and quiet, it may be a bit overwhelming for you. Tried a couple of the street food type vendors, because they've literally had everything, and I mean everything, from the very things you can imagine, like durian, mango sticky rice, krapao, to insects, which is probably just for the tourists, to crocodile meat, you know, hey ho. And I'm sure you might have seen it on different YouTubers' videos. We had the chicken rice, kind of like the Hainanese style chicken rice, and that was really good. In fact, it's better than some of the places we've tried in Singapore. We then had also this suyuk type dish, which is the crispy pork belly, but it was super dry, super dry, and the crispy pork belly just didn't have that nice crunch. So again, that would be a miss. Then we had pad thai, and it's again the first time I've had pad thai. Even though it was sweet, it was a very like a complex melody of flavors, and I thought it was pretty good. Even though I'm not into sweet food, it was pretty good, I thought. But then it was also accompanied with something that kind of almost looked a bit like katsu chicken, like breaded chicken, but it was so dry and it kind of felt like it was chicken that had been refried over and over and over again. We had one each and just stopped eating it. And then there was also sort of this like rice noodle dish where the broth was really clean, but you then obviously have to add a bit of vinegar, chili and fish sauce to it, which made it tasty. So it's a fishball noodle soup, which was very nice. And then we ended with dessert. So my other half, he got durian. I'm not a durian fan. I'm so sorry to durian lovers if I have offended you. I had mango. I didn't want the sticky rice because I was already full, and I tried it yesterday at Chatuchak Market. However, the mango was so disappointing. It wasn't sweet in the slightest, which I was so sad about. We then, after eating, just looked around the mall. Of course, you're going to get all the shops that you can think of, but I was specifically interested and really blown away by section 4 and 5, which is called Icon Craft. It's within the same building, and it's literally just showcasing all the Thai artisans, products, and that's really up my alley. I really love going to countries where, and just seeing and shopping at like independent boutiques or similar vibe, where they really promote the local artists or the local products or local art. It was a really busy but fun day out. So this is a summary of day 5, and it's unusual because we're back home in Singapore. The reason why I couldn't film the summary for day 5 on day 5 is because we were traveling back. It was our last day in Bangkok and it wasn't a full day. Then we only really had a couple of hours to kill before making our way back to the airport and then back home to Singapore. I just wanted to give you a summary of that day. So we first headed to the Central Embassy Mall, and really we just wanted to eat and maybe fit in one quick activity before flying back, because that's really all we had time for. So we went to a restaurant called Nilla Thai, which is on the 5th floor, I believe, of the Central Embassy Mall, and I really looked at researching just kind of authentic Thai restaurant within the mall. My God, what a discovery on the final day. We were so surprised at how amazing the food is. Please let me know down below if Nilla Thai is like super famous in Thailand and I'm just being silly. But yeah, it was amazing. We had mixed starters, like a curry crab. We had krapao, obviously, because I love krapao. And I would say out of all the places that we had krapao, it was the best krapao that I had. Obviously, I haven't been to all of the places that do krapao, although I'd love to. It was delicious. And also papaya salad. My God, it's one of the tastiest papaya salads. It nearly blew my brains out because it was 2 chilies, but it was so good. Then we had this sort of like mango sticky rice dessert with coconut ice cream, I think it was, and what a match made in heaven. It was so delicious, and probably again the best mango sticky rice in Thailand. We had it in one of the cafes at the Chatuchak Market, which was very tasty. And then we had it at Icon Siam, and Icon Siam was so disappointing because the mango itself wasn't even sweet. So it was like, what's the point? But the Nilla Thai one was insane. I love the restaurant so much. I told my other half that if I were to live in Bangkok, I would go there at least once a month, no joke. Amazing discovery. Then after that, we decided to walk off the heavy lunch by going to Open House, which is that sort of like, as the name suggests, it's an open living lifestyle kind of place where it's mainly a bookstore, but they also have lots of little nooks and crannies where they have cafes and restaurants, and it's just such a cool place. And I feel like every corner you turn, it just gives you something else. Obviously, I went during the weekday, so it's pretty empty and quiet, which is amazing. If you want somewhere to work other than your home, it would be a great place. Or if you want somewhere to work on holiday, it'd be a great place. It's somewhere where I could see myself going by myself on a cute date, to hang out with my friends. I absolutely loved it. And I also saw a couple of people doing business meetings there, so it's just a great location. So I absolutely loved Central Embassy and I would love to go back. So after that, we quickly made our way back to the hotel to pick up our suitcases, got the airport railway link back to the airport, and that was it. That was the end of our trip. I've thoroughly enjoyed my Bangkok trip, and I will definitely be back. Even though I was there for 5 days, I just don't feel like it was enough time. There were so many things on my itinerary list that I just didn't get to do, which sucks. But considering it's only like just over 2 hours to Bangkok from Singapore and just under 2 hours back to Singapore, I definitely will be back because it's an amazing, vibrant city full of amazing food. The people were super friendly. I really loved it, and I would highly recommend Bangkok. I'm now looking forward to exploring more areas in Thailand. So if you have any suggestions, I would love to know below. If you have any questions about Bangkok, if I'm able to help in some way or another, then please drop me the question down below. I'd love to know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching and take care.